welcome to the big Ayodhya Verdict. This is ET Now and I'm Supriya Shrinate. The stage seems to be getting set up for an early resolution of the Ayodhya dispute. The Supreme Court today refused to refer the case to a larger constitutional bench, ruling that the scope is limited to the ownership of the disputed land, rejecting the Sunni Waqf Board's plea, challenging the 1994 court order which refused to scrutinize if a mosque is integral to Muslim worship. The top court said that case will be decided only on the basis of title deeds and proof of ownership. Let's take this across to an expert panel that's joining us right here. Remember, the regular hearings will start from the 29th of October, and which is why many people have jumped the gun that is this really going to lead to an early resolution, and could there be a verdict before elections 2019? On our panel today, we are joined by Sanjeev Srivastava, political commentator, Ilyas Shafruddin, Islamic scholar, R. Jagannathan, editorial director, Swarajya magazine, is on the phone line, and we've got Anila Singh, spokesperson of the BJP, joining us. You may be wondering why we don't have politicians, because the Congress and the Samajwadi Party have decided not to be talking on this issue. It is strategically being kept aside. But let me begin with you, Mr. Srivastava. A bench of CJI, Deepak Mishra and Justices Ashok Bhushan and S. Abdul Nazir pronounced this verdict. It's a split verdict, majority 2:1. The Supreme Court has declined to refer the case to a larger bench. It has refused to refer this case to the 5-judge bench. It is a split verdict in the Ismail Farooqi case. What do you make of this? What are the implications of A, the majority judgment, and B, the kind of observations that have been made? First, let's go with the large implications.
I think trying to read the mind of the court or trying to interpret the judgment and the reasons and the nature of the split would be a little bit of treading on dangerous grounds. So if I come straight to the point, the implications. So the implications are quite clear, that if the court has decided that the issue before them is only a title suit and who really owns the property or owns the land, then that is some kind of a shot in the arm for those supporting the construction of a Ram Mandir, or at least that's how it's being interpreted in the first flush of news, so to say, that this would lead to maybe a result that okay, so this land or title deed belongs to the Hindus and not to the Babri Mosque or the Sunni Waqf Board, and i.e. construction of Ram temple will begin, and there will be a Ram Lala temple in Ayodhya very soon, maybe before the elections, at least the construction will begin. Now, if all these premises are true, and they are more likely to be true than false as far as the current scenario is concerned, then clearly a shot in the arm for the BJP, for those forces who prefer the construction of a Ram temple there. And the very fact, what always amazes me is that how any such judgment completely catches on the wrong foot leaders and politicians of parties like the Samajwadi Party or the Congress Party. Why can't they come on this show and speak their mind? Because they are obviously confused. They obviously think that if they say something politically wrong, then they will annoy or lose their constituency in minorities, and if there's something which is politically right, then they would be seen as just a B team of the BJP. So it's a very peculiar situation. In any case, I think the time has come where this issue needs to be decided one way or the other.
I think the reason why the Congress and the I think the reason why the Congress and the SP are staying away is because the new rule of the game today is soft Hindutva. Everybody wants to espouse the majority. You cannot just be reeling after the 14% of India's population. So what if you have all along? Not anymore. We've got 2019 and we've got eyes set on it. But before I go across to Anila Singh, I will come to you, Jaggi. Has the very problem with which we started off been resolved? The court hasn't spoken in a united way. This is a split verdict. We are where we were on the matter before the matter took off. Has the problem been resolved at all?
Oh, perceptually, it's not being resolved, but given the nature of the split in the verdict, it sounds like the two non-Muslim judges voted one way and the Muslim judge voted the other way. I presume Nazir Ahmad is a Muslim and the other two are a Hindu. But the thing is, so it's not a good thing. If it had been a unanimous verdict, it would have been a little more easier to handle, but it's not. So we have to wait for it. But I think the decision is probably a correct one, because I think basically they said that you don't have to bring in extraneous matters like whether mosque is necessary in Islam or not, because that's not an issue that the court can decide. I think that Muslims can decide for themselves. So I think that's a different issue. But I think the fact is this dispute has been going on for far too long, for more than 50 years, and in court for a very long time. So the only good thing about this decision is that it will hopefully bring this to a conclusion, even if it is not before the 2019 election, sometime in 2019. And I think that is a good thing. But to treat it as a property dispute is also a mistake, because it is not just a property dispute. There is a faith issue also underlying the property dispute and all that. And if you notice the Allahabad High Court judgment, it went very clearly in favor of this thing, with 2/3 of the land being assigned to the Hindus and 1/3 to the Muslims. So I think there are all kinds of complications. But I think a resolution is important, because the court is the only way to decide how this thing should go forward.
Right. Okay, let me just quickly take this across to Anila Singh. And Anila saying, will the Supreme Court split to one verdict mean that there will be a speedier resolution of the Ayodhya dispute? Everybody in your party and otherwise has jumped to the conclusion that this verdict means a Ram temple. Are you not jumping the gun too early?
Supriya, I'm not the fortune teller or the person who can see into future, but definitely after this verdict we are hopeful and we are happy as well, because like throughout since years together, Bharatiya Janata Party has been blamed, banged, and the people had called all sort of names to Bharatiya Janata Party when we stood very strongly that yes, Ram Mandir should be built there because it is the place where Bhagwan Ram was born. So our faith is standing with the faith of all the people who have who believe in Bhagwan Ram. So it is the day of celebration of all the Ram Bhakts, and definitely as a true citizen of our country who believes in constitution and the law system or the judicial system of our country, we are waiting for the final verdict to come out, and we can only hope that it comes as early as possible. But Supriya, I am smiling ear to ear today, because the reality of Congress party and the Samajwadi party has come up front, and everybody knows that both the political parties, and especially if I talk about the leaders of both the political parties, Rahul Gandhi ji and Akhilesh Yadav ji, where are they? None of them are coming in front. None of the leaders are coming in front, and
because you are out celebrating, Anila.
Like Rahul Gandhi ji, he had been chest thumping and shouting on the top of his voice that I am Janeudhari Brahman, I have Shivbhakt. I mean,
okay. Anila Singh, hold that thought, because I'll have to go across to Ilyas Sharafuddin, who's joining us. No, that's very good, Anila Singh. Let's just control our language. Give me a minute. You are out celebrating in full force, and so is your entire army on online. I think, but yes, you are absolutely right. Today we cannot deny that Congress and SP can't make up their minds. They don't want to be seen on the wrong side of this at all. They don't want to be seen upsetting the minorities, and they also can't be seen antagonizing the majority community. At least in your case, you don't care about the minorities. Let's just put it at that. But Ilyas Sharafuddin, let me come to you. This is a judgment that has come in, and this is likely to now have a significant bearing on 2019 Lok Sabha elections. How are you going to read into the judgment today? How big a setback is this really for you and the demand and the plea that has been made in the courts?
Points, one religious point, another legal point. The religious point is the judges have done a second blunder when they declared that mosque is not an integral part of Islam, whereas the Islamic ethos from the Quran Hadith make it very clear, mosque is an integral part of Islam. And when Prophet Muhammad gone to Medina, he made mosque the very first thing, and when Allah created universe, he made mosque of Makkah the very first thing. Now second point is that Anila Singh and all the BJP and RSS members should know that temple and mandir is not an integral part of Hinduism, and making a statue and worshipping it leads straight to hell as per Bhagavad Gita chapter 7 verse 20. So it's a very disastrous decision for them if they are going towards the mandir. Now coming to the legality, some criminals are coming and demolishing your house, and after demolishing the house, they are questioning the title suit of the land. So they are demolishing the house and questioning the title suit of the land. It's a double whammy for the victim, going to set a very wrong precedence, very dangerous for the future of India and the Indian legal system.
Ilyas, please let me come in. No, 1 second, Ilyas. I'm going to rein in some of your angst there, because this is national television, and I will not let you run away with one side of the narrative. Please understand this. I don't think either you or the Vishwa Hindu Parishad or the BJP. You cannot shout louder than me. This is my show, so please keep your cool. I'm speaking to you in a very, very calm way. Please, let's not get too many religious, connotations into this. Just hold that thought. Why are you shouting? Look at the language I'm speaking in. In any case, I'll take this across to Sanjeev Srivastava. And Sanjeev, it is most likely that the judgment will now conclude just before elections 2019. Isn't that very sensitive? Because this is going to have a bearing on how votes are cast. This is too sensitive an issue for India's majority community. We've seen how this changed elections in the past. The decks seem to have been clear in that sense. For a speedier judgment, how concerned will you be as far as the timing goes of the final judgment that will now be on fast track, because the courts will hear this from the 29th of October?
Well, I will not be concerned, very honestly, but I will definitely understand the fact that it will have a bearing on the election. So, in the past few weeks, the ruling party, BJP, Prime Minister, appeared to be on the back foot because of different reasons, whether it's price rise, joblessness, Rafale, most things they were being caught on the wrong turf and on the back foot with little defense to offer. But this, and I always believed personally that Ram Mandir issue cannot become another election issue in 2019. But even from this afternoon to evening, the manner in which tempo has built up and the kind of atmospherics are being built up around this issue, I think I was perhaps wrong in my assessment. I think that the temple issue will become a major issue in 2019. So if the judgment comes, then it will be a very decisive factor, especially in North India, especially in UP. And so clearly it becomes very sensitive, and it becomes all the more sensitive because the manner in which, see, politics is also trying to play things calm. So the BJP will like to hype it up. But like our Islamic scholar on this show, and he's perfectly right to air his grievance, if he also hypes up, if there is more talk about 3-judge bench in which perhaps one was a Muslim, if the Congress and Samajwadi play coy, then this whole issue becomes all the more of a potent weapon in the hands of BJP. So, interesting times ahead is all that I will say, with advantage BJP.
Sanjeev, no. Okay. Yes, you are absolutely right. We are heading into very interesting times. You are right that I cannot shut up somebody who is announcing the grievance. I just want to temper in the communal overtones in either of the two sides. But anyways, let me go to Jaggi. And Jaggi, I'm not as surprised like Sanjeev Srivastava is. But does the Ayodhya dispute carry the same political importance that it did in the 80s and the 90s? Or do you think we've moved away from the Mandir Masjid politics through, the polarization around communal lines is there? Is 2019 going to be about jobs and development and growth and things like that? Or is this all going to boil down to who's going to milk what sentiment along religious communal lines? Will Ayodhya be a relevant political issue?
See, it's certainly not as emotive an issue today as it was in the 90s when all the agitations were built up and the mosque was brought down. So this time it is a little different, but I wouldn't be surprised if two things happen. One part of what Sanjeev said I agree with, that it is possible for the BJP to hype the issue up to April, May when the elections take place. However, I disagree with him that a verdict will come before May. I think that even a 3-judge bench will not be as foolish as to announce that, okay, here it is, here is our verdict 15 days before the election and things like that. Most probably they will finish their hearings and they'll give the judgment after the election. So I think the only thing you can do is build up the hype saying that, okay, the verdict might come our way. So in that sense, it will work. But I don't think it's a long-term issue. But the point is, as far as I personally am also pessimistic about the court verdict even if it comes, will be the final word, because you can always challenge it constitutionally and ask for a bigger bench, which a new Chief Justice under a different person who might have different inclinations might well oblige. So he might throw it to a larger bench, so it might continue. Second possibility is that BJP and all are now saying that you need to move the parliament for this, forget the courts, if that verdict goes against you. So I think the issue is not going to end even if the verdict comes. It's going to continue till it is decided decisively one way or the other. And I think the ideal solution still is a negotiated one which is done outside court.
No, I completely agree with you there. I don't think the courts or parliament should make two communities decide on who really owns that space, where should the temple be, should there be a mosque or not. But Anila Singh, very quickly before I go back to Mr. Elias, the question that I think comes to my mind is that there is no doubt that if there were to be a judgment, or even this, the way it has been used since morning, I mean, this isn't a judgment really as far as the temple is concerned. What did this decide on? This decided on the fact, should it go to a larger bench, and is mosque integral to, or is namaz practice in a mosque integral to Islam? Even then, look at how it has been rigged up. I mean, my entire Twitter timeline has been filled with Jai Shri Ram, and that to me makes me think, are we going back to the Mandir, Kamandal, Advani, Rath Yatra era politics? I mean, I thought politics from India had moved away from that, and it was about development, it was about growth, it was about, equal opportunities. Has that moved away? And I think the relevant question that must be asked is, even today, is religion-based identity politics the only hope to take on a united opposition for the BJP?
Supriya, I am not going to advocate on this point of view as on the legal facts, because advocates are doing that in the court as well, in a very well way. But as the worker of Bharatiya Janata Party, I know one thing, and as a Ram Bhakt as well. When we talk about the faith and when we talk about the work, both the things are two different, are totally two different things. And if we see in a very practical way in day-to-day life, when we go out for a job, for any type of work, we do puja, we worship our God, and then we step out from our home and then we work. So definitely when we talk about the Ram Mandir, we talk about the faith, we talk about
I don't care if you do that.
Shri Ram. And when we talk about the development, it is a different thing.
What is this argument
altogether? So we are going to talk about Ram Mandir, and we are going to talk about the different development work.
I am sorry, Anila Singh, let me please come in there. I really don't care. No. Anila Singh, 1 second. I have elected you, or I have elected any other representative to talk about my development, to talk about my opportunities, to talk about my job creation, to talk about, the sewer lines that are blocked, the plots that have garbage. I have not elected you to worship and talk about Maryada Purushottam Ram. Faith is very personal, madam. Please keep it at home. Don't bring it into governance. That's all that I tell you, and that's all also I'm telling people like Mr. Elias. But Mr. Elias, I'll come to you, because Supreme Court had to decide also whether namaz can be offered anywhere, or a mosque is a necessary part of the Islamic practice. No, Anila, I'm not even listening to you, so there's no point talking. I take strong objection to everybody who talks about Jai Shri Ram and Maryada Purushottam Ram. No, I'm a practicing Hindu as well. Your faith is personal. Leave it at home before you come on national television. No, I'm sorry, I will not take that lying down. No, I'm sorry. Your faith is extremely personal. Leave it at home. Don't carry it here to propagate on my channel. It doesn't work. Anyways, Mr. Elias, I agree with you that the Congress and SP is shying away. Please don't propagate religion on my channel is all I'm trying to tell you. Religion is extremely personal. Mr. Elias, please, I don't know why you're laughing, but anyways, I'll come to you. The court has said that mosque is not essential to Islam. Offering namaz in a mosque is not essential to Islamic practice. What are the implications of this? Because in every which way, it has now limited the suit to a title suit only. Like it or not. Mr. Elias.
All right. See, I want to say that if you read the authentic tradition of Prophet Muhammad, Muslim hadith number 654, Prophet Muhammad have commanded that you cannot perform prayers, your prayers are not accepted if you don't go to the mosque. So this makes it very clear that mosque is an essential part of Islam for prayers. Now coming to the development side, NDA in general and BJP in particular don't have anything to show for development. Unemployment is all-time high, petrol prices all-time high,
I don't need a
diesel
lecture
prices,
on
gas
development.
prices all-time
No,
high,
no, Ilyas,
crime against
Ilyas,
women
I'm
all-time
sorry.
high. So they don't
Ilyas,
have anything
I'm
to show
sorry,
for
I don't need a lecture on development. That's not the question I asked you.
And destroy the nation.
One second. Ilyas Shafruddin, you can shout the loudest. I will just dim your audio. That's how I do my shows. 1 second. Anila Singh and Ilyas, the way I do my show is, if you are going to start screaming and shouting and not make a relevant point, I will just dim your audio. I don't like people screaming and shouting. Please, let's keep it civil. I have not asked you a question to assess BJP's development. I have asked you a simple question. Hasn't the entire matter got reduced to a simple title suit? Yes or no? Please answer that question, Ilyas.
See, the entire matter has been reduced to taking out the political mileage of it. Nothing more, nothing less according to me. They are taking out the political mileage in the last 25 years. They will do the same for another 25 years without making anything positive for nation.
Well, that's also the irony of our law, that we've been going on this for the last 25 years and nobody has refused to take a call on this. Sanjeev Srivastava, the Supreme Court has refused to review the 1994 verdict, which has said that a mosque was not essential for namaz and it could be offered just about anywhere. It has also noted that government could acquire the land that a mosque is built on. You know, for all practical purposes, it has moved to a title suit alone. This isn't going to be, you know, the war between the rhetoric that we are hearing here or otherwise. This is a matter that shall now be debated under at least the jurisdiction lines on title suit. Is that a correct assessment to be made?
I think so. I think, but like Jaggi or you pointed out, I think Jaggi pointed out that it can always go to a larger bench later. So just a couple of very quick points. I never said, like Jaggi perhaps heard it, that the Supreme Court will decide before the May 2019 elections. I just said if it decides, it will definitely be advantage BJP, even more advantage. Even if it doesn't decide, even this judgment itself is being trummed up as advantage BJP by BJP supporters. The other thing which Jaggi said was that perhaps, and you also referred to that, the Mandal Kamandal politics of 90s, early 90s and the Ram Janmabhoomi Yatra, the Rath Yatra of Mr. Advani. Yes, the Ram Janmabhoomi temple was a much bigger emotive issue then. But the Hindu-Muslim polarization is much deeper now. So those are two different things. Ram Mandir is just one of the manifestations of that divide and that polarization. And the entire campaign, unfortunately, of the BJP is not centered now around what good work has been done by the government, but the termites or illegal immigrants, the Ram Bhakts, the Muslim boy being beaten up in Meerut in the name of love jihad, or this entire atmospherics of us versus them, and wherein the opposition parties give themselves no credit or do not come across with flying colors at all, because they just don't know what to do. They just don't know what to hit them. And frankly, it's very easy to criticize them.
I don't know if
but
they
it's
don't
also
know.
very difficult to be a strong person if you're a politician to come out and say the truth. Because Supriya, for you and me to say that on air is one thing.
And that's exactly what we are.
And if you have to go to the masses for
and that's
vote,
exactly what we are seeing the Congress and the on the SP do.
I
will take a quick last word. Sorry, Sanjeev, I'll have to come in there, completely running out of time here. I will have to take a quick last word to Jaggi because we are completely running out of time here. In some sense, Jaggi, you know, this whole Ram Mandir divide, the Ram Janmabhoomi issue actually saw the disappearance of the Congress party. It had actually begun before, but you know, the complete disappearance of the Congress in Uttar Pradesh. Votes got consolidated behind the BJP, the upper caste votes. The Dalits went with the BSP, the Yadavs and the Muslims rallied behind the SP. Are we going to see those equations change? Because, you know, we keep hearing about this Mahagathbandhan in Uttar Pradesh, at least the SP and BSP is already a given. Will we see those equations change, and can that counter the Ram Mandir politics? A quick last word, Jaggi, before I end this.
Yeah, I think if the Ram Mandir politics is built up to a fever pitch by the thing, I would say that the broad coalition that held in the last assembly elections, where Akhilesh and Congress and together, this time it will be Akhilesh and BSP. They will try to garner the votes, with Congress playing a small support role. And the BJP will also try to consolidate its upper and OBC vote and a part of the non-Jata Dalit vote. I think the lineup will be similar to the assembly election, with BJP actually trying to hold its base. As far as Akhilesh is concerned, their problem is they do not want to appear to be anti-Hindu. So he wants to build a Vishnu temple, and this guy wants to be a Shiv Bhakt and a Ram Bhakt and all kinds of things. So we have complete marginalization of every other aspect, and this is going to take center stage, and it probably suits the BJP. Huh?
I do wish 2019 was going to be about the millennials. I wish 2019 was going to be about the number of people coming into our workforce. I wish 2019 was about equitable growth and development and economic prosperity. But guess what? If left to our politicians, 2019 is going to be about Ram, it is going to be about Mandir, it is going to be about Masjid. You, the viewer, needs to take that call. Do you want to be led in that direction, or do you want to finally tell our politicians one last time, it will not matter? These issues should be dealt with by consensus. These issues should be negotiated over. The courts and the parliament actually should have no business trying to tell what to be done. There are two communities that have lived in this country for the longest. Why can't they sit across the table and negotiate? It's a hard line being taken on both sides of the political spectrum, at least on the religious lines. We wish there is a solution, and we wish there's a solution that is far more amicable and acceptable. For now, politicians will take you in the wrong directions. Beware. Thank you very much for being with us.